Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
Charles, what's going on with these?
Sorry,
It's really nice that you guys miss me. Say, you all didn't happen to do a bunch of drugs, did you?
Will, we saw you at the Bronze. A vampire.
I'm not a vampire.
You are. I mean, you were. Giles planning on jumping in with an explanation anytime soon?
well, something very strange is happening.
Can you believe the Watchers Council let this guy go?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time, giving our reviews, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 16, titled Doppelgangland. Written and directed by Joss Whedon. Original air date, February 23rd, 1999, to an audience of 6.5 million people. And this one is some old nightmares come back to haunt me while watching this.
Oh, yeah. You can't get away from the wish, can you?
I absolutely cannot. I thought we were done with that, but here we are again.
This is one of my favorite things about like when we chat in the Discord with our fans who have been great in not spoiling forward, but just talking about the latest episodes. And there is a full spoiler chat that I'm sure they're going to town on.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's so funny when they like argue with us and like we just don't have information that they know is coming up.
Exactly. When I'm like, no, this is what's going to happen. This is what I think. And they're like, so thank you so much. You're like handcuffed to not spoiling stuff for us. Yeah. And you could just demolish our well, especially my thoughts.
But this is the joy of the podcast. You're watching two people experience Buffy in real time.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had some old friends show back up. And I feel like this episode is kind of like Willow's version of the Zeppo.
Yes, this is a Willow episode, yeah.
And I like that. We haven't had a lot of like strictly Willow episodes, I feel.
No, she's had like strong plot lines, but never like, okay, we're just following her. Like when you cut to another scene and you're like, oh, it's her again? And you're like, oh, okay, this is just Willow.
So this was fun.
Another thing for me is that this is the best of both worlds. Because we didn't want the one-off, like, random. We thought this might be one-off random episode, you know what I mean? And it's actually, we get a little carryover from the last episode. And it's still a main storyline, but they're throwing this in too.
Some more plot developments on the main storyline, the big overarching theme of the season and everything. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. This was a good, like you said, good having our cake and eating it. So.
Yeah.
This is going to be weird, but right now, Joey Boy doesn't have any plugs.
Whoa.
I got nothing to plug, man. Got no shows.
Awesome.
Just wait till next week, though. Next week I'll have a Booty Burlesque plug.
All right. I got no plugs either. We're plug free.
All right. So let's get the fuck into this then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So this episode starts off with a recap of, Faith murdering the guy and everything that's been happening. And then it has a little bit of recap of the Wish episode. And I was like, what the fuck? Wait, what?
Yeah.
So this episode starts with Anya, getting kind of bitched out by a demon, or she's basically pleading to this demon like, dude, give me another chance. I lost my powers. My power center was destroyed, but I can't go on living like this. I am a helpless, stupid teenage mortal right now, and I hate being stuck in this body. Do you realize how boring my life is now? I'm in a crazy immortal demon. And the demon's like, sucks to suck, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. That's your fault. You fucked up.
Yeah, she mentioned she's 1,000 years old. She's had her powers for 1,000 years, and she's flunking math.
Yeah. How do you not pick up math even a little bit?
I guess you just don't have to do it.
Yeah.
She's probably not doing algebra or trigonometry or calculus.
If ever there was an argument against, you're going to need this later in life.
Yeah.
She's been alive for 1,000 years and she's never used it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the demon's like, dude, not my problem. She's like, please give me one more chance, please. And the demon's like, no, see ya. And she's like, dude, when I get my power back, I'm going to fucking fuck you up, dude. And the demon's like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, I love the joke.
He's like sitting like crisscross applesauce. Yeah. Like, I don't know. This isn't my problem.
I love there's like no introduction to him. There's no like book. It's just, okay, she's talking to a demon. Great.
Yeah. So then we have Willow and Buffy at school on the quad the next day. And Willow's practicing her witchcraft. She's floating a pencil. And she's floating this CGI pencil so well.
Yeah, it's such an effect. I was going to save this for later at a point, but so everyone just knows she's a witch, right?
I mean,
it's just
in school or
in school. It just seems known that there's witches floating around the school.
Yeah.
Later, when Anya comes up to her and she's like, "Hey, I heard you're into witchcraft stuff," and she's like, "Oh, cool," and she doesn't go like, "Who told you?" She's just like,
"Yeah."
I mean, I guess she does. She's friends with Cordelia, so technically Cordelia could have told her. But
also at that point, she was just like desperate to do some kind of wild thing.
Here's my thing: she's in a quad, levitating a pencil. People are around. It's not a private situation.
Yeah, it's daytime. People are around. Buffy's next to her, like doing crunches.
The worst crunches I've ever seen in my life.
No, it's real bad. She's not gonna have a good core doing that shit. And basically Buffy's complaining about Wesley and all the rigorous training that she has to do with him, and he's like putting them through like obstacle courses and physical obstacle courses and mental obstacle courses, and Willow's like, oh man, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, they say something about psych tests and like, what did you want to be when you grow up? And do you want to be a florist? And Willow's like, oh, I wanted to be wait, if you pick that means you're crazy. Never mind.
Yeah.
Now, you've taken a bunch of psych tests. Have you ever had the florist thing?
Yeah, I've never heard of that in my entire life. Have you?
No. Did
we look it up?
I did not look it up. Did we look it up? What podcast do you think this is?
Yeah, I'd never heard that in my entire life.
Yeah, so, chat us about that. Let's figure that out.
Yeah, and I majored in one of my majors, a little brag here, was social psychology. So that's a little odd that either I did learn it and forgot it, or I just never heard of that.
I was just thinking you probably taken enough to prove if you're psychotic or not. So if you
I'm definitely psychotic, dude.
You're like Florist all the way.
Yeah. Why would anyone want to do this? It's such a boring fucking job. Anyway. But yeah, then they're talking about like Buffy wanting to really excel at these tests because she wants to be better than Faith. Oh. And I was like, who cares? At this point, I was like, who cares? Faith is gone.
Exactly my point. I'm like, do you guys even know where Faith is?
Yeah. At this point in the episode, I was like, why do you care? Like, we already know that Faith is a cold-blooded killer. Like, you're already better than her.
Because we have to talk about last episode and how it just left off with her saving Buffy after killing Mr. Trick.
Mr. Trick.
And then her working for the mayor.
Yeah, there's we don't see any interaction after that. We see Buffy talking to Giles about it and being like, yeah, I had doubts about her, but I think that she can turn it around. And then the next scene is Faith joining up with the mayor. Like, we don't see any kind of reconciliation. So I was like, do they know that she's still alive? Like, where do they know where she is?
Yeah.
And then Buffy's like, yeah, I'm gonna be better than Faith in all these tests.
Yeah. After we got finished recording the last podcast, I mentioned to Joe that Faith has replaced both Kendra and Mr. Trick.
No, yeah.
She has replaced the two black characters on the show. One.
Yeah. Dude,
and
if you're
one
a black person on this, if you're a black person on this show, you better keep your eyes peeled for Faith.
She is coming for your role. You work for the mayor, I work for the mayor now. You're the Slayer, I'm the Slayer.
You're a black espresso pump employee? Guess you got a new barista, baby.
Don't even think about getting a line. I'm coming for it. Oh, man.
So Willow then gets like kind of annoyed and about all this Faith talk, and you can tell this because Willow said that she's able to float and spin this pencil around because it's all about emotional control. Mm-hmm. And after Buffy starts talking about Faith a bunch, Willow's like, I've moved past it. And Buffy's like, really? And then you look at the pencil and it's like spinning out of its control and flipping all over. And then it just shoots into a tree out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got it under control. All right. And it shoots into a tree, and
that's a pretty
killed somebody.
That's a pretty good power. I don't know why she's not shooting pencils at vampires.
That's what I was just about to say. That is a projectile, insanely awesome weapon.
Yeah,
dude,
that has to happen. That has to happen at some point.
It should.
Like
it would be great.
Just a little nubbin of wood touches a vampire's heart, and they're like done. Like if it just touches their chest, they normally fall out.
Yeah, so we gotta get her battle tested and trained for that.
Yeah.
Like, get her freaked out more often. Talk about Faith. Just like whisper in her ear right before a fight. Just be like, hey, remember Faith fucked Xander? Just like, ah! All those little pencils go flying everywhere. So then next scene, Principal Snyder's back. Haven't seen Principal Snyder in quite some time.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about him. But he's back, and he's called Willow into his office, and he's like, hey, I'm going to pair you up with this guy. This is Percy West. He is the superstar basketball player, and he's having a real rough time in school, and he needs some help. So I'm pairing you two up because we need a winning season, especially after what happened with the swim team.
He says the debacle with the swim team, not the horrific disappearance of the swim coach, the school nurse, and about 5 or 6 teammates.
Yep. What a debacle.
What a debacle.
Like, does he know that they're fish monsters now?
He didn't know they're fish monsters, but he does know that they're not in school.
Yeah.
And no one's seen them.
And the nurse is dead.
The nurse is dead. There's no coach.
There's no coach. The only surviving member of that team is Xander.
I think there were some people in that room, that shower room, but it's a lot of people died.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know what the sports in Sunnydale is, but I don't know why it's imperative that this high school team is good.
And I have a winning season, Vance, for morale.
Who, Snyder? Who's asking you to make this happen?
Dude, we gotta have a good basketball team to make everybody forget about the dozens of deaths to the students. Like, if this basketball team is good, everyone will forget about the swim team.
But do they travel outside of Sunnydale to play other high schools?
You would think so.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You would think that the out-of-town high schools would just take pity on them and be like, you can beat us.
They're like, that basketball player, his brother died yesterday. His mom's dead. He can't find his cousin. Yeah.
They all died of this mysterious neck rupture that's only affecting people in Sunnydale. But basically, Snyder's like, you gotta tutor Percy West on history. he's failing history and we need him to pass. So you need to tutor him and make him pass. And Willow's like, why do I got to do this? This stinks. And then she goes to the library and she's talking to Buffy about the whole situation with Snyder. She's like, yeah, he paired me up with this guy and I got to tutor him. Like, nobody respects my time. Everybody just thinks that I can drop everything and do stuff for him. And Giles walks out of his office and is like, Willow, drop everything. Come try and hack into the mayor's computer again. And Willow's like, okay.
Yeah. I knew he was coming out immediately when she started that rant.
Yeah.
And
we got to have a Joe's Fashion Corner moment here with Willow.
I didn't know where you were going to go with this one.
Willow looks so something. She has a fuzzy pink sweater on that has this awful design on it. It's wholly too. There's like parts of it missing. She has a fuzzy pink skirt. And to top it all off, Vance, she has a fuzzy purple purse. Everything's so fuzzy, and looking at her gave me goosebumps because I was just imagining all of that fuzz like rubbing up on it, on each other. And it just it gave me the willies, dude. It's too much fuzz.
It's a lot of fuzz, but it is the perfect outfit for the payoff at the end of this episode.
Yeah. I mean, this outfit, the payoff at the end is a different outfit, but this is like establishing her as
No, I just mean like somewhat. Oh, it is a different one. Yeah, I guess it's a different day because she was in overalls in the first scene. Which is outside.
Dude, this fucking fuzzy outfit bothered me just thinking about wearing it and the fuzz rubbing up against it, like the static shock that you would get, and like the feeling. You know how like some things like you look at it and you imagine it, and it gives you goosebumps because of how awful. That was one of those things for me, and I could not get past it.
I didn't have that much of a reaction to it, but yeah, it's not great.
So after Willow is like going to help Giles try to hack into the mayor's office, who comes bumbling into this library but Faith and Wesley. Faith and Wesley are all chumming it up, and Faith is like, just got done with my fucking Slayer test, kid. Went pretty well. And Wesley's out of breath. Like, oh, you could say that. You could say that again. And I was like, wait, is Faith just cool with everybody now?
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, did I miss something in the beginning scene when they were being evaluated? Like, are the cops no longer looking for the murderer of this case?
Wesley not care anymore? He was trying to arrest her and send her to Watcher jail.
Yeah, like, wouldn't it be I had brought up, like, a couple episodes back that, like, when Buffy came back from LA, I think was that the start of this season?
Yeah.
Okay, like, she came back, they were all yelling at each other. Zombies came into the house, they fought the zombies, and then at the end, they were all cool. But nothing had been resolved from what they've talked about. It's like, as long as there's a big fight, that's the resolution. There's no conversation resolution. It's just like, we argue, fight, we're cool. And this one was like, I know that they had her kill Mr. Trick, and then they had a moment where Buffy stared at her. But I need to see, need to see her talk to Wesley, and Wesley relate that. Like, I need to see like him, or just like a line that says he cleared it up with the council. Like, wouldn't they be like, hey, we just heard about what happened, we're coming.
It's not even like we're missing a scene.
Yeah.
We're missing 3 or 4 scenes.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. When she showed back up, I was like, what the hell is happening?
It's weird that they haven't opened this with like a Zoom call with Faith and the rest of the Watchers, and they like tell her what she has to do, and they give her like penance instead of like imprisonment. Like,
maybe because she is under the thumb of Wesley now, that's forgiving. But Wesley hates her.
Why is there one Watcher per 2 Slayers?
I don't know.
And they're not even trying to give Faith a Slayer last episode. They were just like, she
Watcher?
doesn't. Yeah, Watcher, sorry. Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, we don't even. She's like, she doesn't deal with Watchers. And she just walks away. And they're like, okay. And it's like, what?
I mean, last episode, she beat the shit out of Wesley.
Yeah.
She knocked him out, headbutted him, made him look like a fool in front of his watcher cohorts, made him look like a fool in front of the entire rest of the gang. They all like shamed him afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Why does anybody respect this bozo?
I don't. I understand why Faith is doing it now that she's working for the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand why they just were like, okay, it's cool. Just work out with us a little bit and take some psych tests and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, we just did the obstacle course. Apparently Faith is really good at them and Buffy's up next. And Faith's talking.
I don't understand why the Watchers feel like they need to work out with the Slayers and just always be out of breath. This person is a superhuman, also 20 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Why? Like, most coaches don't run with their players. Like, maybe
they're like the referees in basketball games where they're running up and down the court.
But they don't go full sprint and jumping. Yeah.
I don't know. Remember, I feel like there's a clip of a football referee like sprinting down the sideline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have to run, but like,
yeah.
Not if you're watching them do obstacle courses. You don't hop in.
I would love to see these obstacle courses too. Like,
You know,
it's
they're
just like a bouncy house.
You know, they're just cones on the soccer field.
Just renting out
Yeah.
fucking little tiny wall for them to jump over. Like, come on, dude. This is a regular human to jump over.
Yeah.
So then Buffy and Wesley leave to go do their obstacle course. Faith hops over the library desk to see what Willow's up to, who's hacking into the mayor's office. And Faith's like, what you doing? And Willow's like, I'm trying to hack into the mayor's office because we all think that he's up to no good. And Faith is like, huh, interesting. You think you can do that? And Willow's like, oh, yeah. I mean, this stuff is a little trickier than normal, but I could definitely hack it. Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a super hacker. I'm a witch. I'm a high school student. I'm getting accepted to all the schools. I'm fine.
I'm dating a werewolf.
Yeah. I mean, I should really be doing this since he actually doesn't have to go to classes, I guess. But I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. But Faith is looking at this like, oh, this is some intel that I can relay back to the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so she does, because the next scene is the mayor gifting Faith an amazing apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, you can live here now that you're working for me. I can't have you staying at that awful motel. A bunch of bad crimes happen there. A bunch of bad stuff happens there. So you'll be staying here for as long as you're working with me. And Faith's like, whoa, mister, this is nice. Wow. It has lights. It has electricity. Wow.
Yeah.
She goes and runs around. She jumps on the bed, and the mayor's like, don't fucking jump on the bed. Take the shoes off.
It's like the scene in Dumb and Dumber where they find the money and they buy that hotel room and they like walk around and Jim Carrey like hops on the bed and like does a flip and they're like, well, take it. Like,
and then there's a very, very strange moment after Faith gets off the bed where she walks up.
I like this moment.
You like this moment?
I do.
Okay.
And I will explain why.
All right. She walks over to the mayor and she goes, thanks for all of this, little sugar daddy. And the mayor's like, no. Not like this. I have a family. I have an image to uphold. And Faith's like, oh, okay.
No, he's like basically saying like, no, I don't do that. Like flirtatious. I'm like your older guy. Like he's like, no, this is a business transaction. I'm a family man. Like I love that he has weird morals. Like she jumps on the bed with her. She's like, oh no, get down. Like he's a germaphobe, and he's got like it's like it contrasts like Wesley in this episode and Wesley last episode where he's ogling teens. You know,
it is funny because, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because he ends up he's like, no, I have an image to uphold. I'm a family man.
I don't think he says the image to uphold. I think he's like
you're right, but
I think
he's saying he's a family man.
Yeah, I think he's saying like he's not saying like I need to like keep this in the public eye. I think he's like, no, I really don't even want you even joking about that. Like, and I was like, that's great.
So he says all this. I'm a family man. I've got morals. So let's get to killing your friend.
Yeah, that's the balance that I like.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, like I'm not gonna do adultery, but yeah, we're gonna murder this teenage girl. Like he's completely fine with that.
And Faith kind of looks at him like, huh? Oh, we're getting right to that, huh? He's like, yep, let's do it.
I love that he says I wouldn't have you do it because that's like too much for someone just starting out, which is another weirdly like a weird thing. Yeah, yeah. But I don't think we could have a vampire do it, make it look like an accident. And I was like, all right, this guy's he's willing to deal, and he's got some plans.
So as you're saying, Faith is kind of looking at him like, oh, I didn't know that we're going to be doing this so soon. Okay. And there's a look of skepticism or whatever in her eyes. And it's like, oh, okay, so what is going on here? What's the actual plan? And then Oz is at school.
Wait, and then he says, there's a PlayStation.
Oh, right. She fucking creams her pants about having a PlayStation.
Which is so perfectly dated. I love it.
Yeah. PlayStation was sick back in the day.
It was crazy. It was like the beginning of next-gen stuff.
Dude, when I got a PlayStation 2, my world changed.
I remember getting a PlayStation and getting Final Fantasy 7 and just being like, and I'm not even a big game player of that type of game, but I was just like looking at those graphics with like mind-blowing, which now if you look at them, you'd be like, what is this? But back then it was like the best you could get.
Dude, I remember, so the only reason that I got a PlayStation 2 is because we got it for free if we signed up for MSN internet or something. Because I never had a game console. And so I got this PlayStation 2, and I was playing PlayStation 1 games on the PlayStation 2 and still being like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I got PlayStation 2 games. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm playing Last of Us 2 now on PlayStation 4, I guess. I guess that's what it is, yeah. And yeah, I'm still amazed by the graphics of that.
It's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
You look at those NBA games and it's like the sweat. Unreal. So yeah, then it's the next day at school. Oz shows up and he sees Willow and he's like, I don't know why, but I've got this odd compulsion to hug you. And she's like, oh, Oz, where have you been?
And his hair is so jet black. It's crazy.
Yeah. And Oz is like, baby, you know I've been out of town doing gigs. It's like,
this scene is
this high school, dude.
This scene is so weird. He's like, I was in Monterey with the show. I didn't know you had a show. You could have come. I thought you'd be busy with schoolwork. I got a gig at the Bronze tonight. Oh, I got to do schoolwork.
Yep. And she's sad. And then Willow finds Percy in the quad. And she's like, hey, I thought we would meet up at lunch and I could tutor you on history. And Percy's like, I don't think you get it, Willow. You're going to do my homework, nerd. And I'm going to hang out. And he's like chewing gum or something with his mouth wide open.
He is eating up. He's chewing the scenery, literally.
It's perfectly dumb jock acting. And Willow's like, no, but that's not what I thought. He was like, I don't know what meeting you were at, but Snyder basically told you to do all my assignments for me because you're an egghead and I'm a jock. And we need to have this winning season to make all of this vampire business go away.
Yeah.
What if that really was the cure for the Hellmouth? Just a winning season for Sunnydale High in any sport.
Angel's like, what's happening? Are they winning?
Yeah.
He blocks the last shot so he could stay. I really thought for a moment that she was going to try and sleep with this jock. I thought,
why?
Because the scene before with Oz was just like, are they even dating? Their conversation was not boyfriend, girlfriend in high school. It was like, I don't even know where you've been. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then this jock came up and I was like, oh, we're going to study. And at that moment, I was like, oh, she's going to go study with him and then try to like hit on him. Taking the baton from your pitch of like her lashing out, wanting to feel sexy from like knowing that Xander hooked up with Faith. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Oz is not going for it yet, I guess.
Well, I will say
it was only momentary. It was only momentarily. I thought that
my prediction of her lashing out, I will give myself 40% correct because I thought it was going to be a lash out in a sexual way. Mm-hmm. She lashes out like a motherfucker a little bit in this episode.
I don't think she gets to lash out in this episode. She wants to, but she doesn't get to.
She gets to immediately right now because she eats that banana. She eats that banana. It's not even lunchtime. She's like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm eating this banana right now.
I did write down that this is Willow's Bad Girls moment.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a Bad Girls episode? I have a Bad Girls episode.
Here I am, eating the banana. It's not even lunch. And then she starts to open it, and Buffy and Xander walk over to her, and she's like, hey, Willow, did you happen to... Were you in bio class last Thursday? And Willow's like, yeah. And then Buffy goes, that's my Willow, old reliable. And Willow's like, old reliable? That's a sexy nickname. And Xander's like, I mean, it's a good nickname. It's like, you know, you're like that geyser that shoots up every now and then. She's like, that's Old Faithful. He's like, I thought that Old Faithful was that dog that got shot in the yard. But it was like, that's Old Yeller. And Xander's like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about anymore.
When they cut to Xander, it looks like he's trying to do math in his head. Yeah. Like, he's like so confused. Yeah. And I kind of finally figured out, we've always said he has a Bruce Campbell vibe to him, but it's like Bruce Campbell mixed with Matt Dillon. And I was like, the two of them mixed together, it's like, that's kind of Xander. Yeah.
So Willow takes a stand and Buffy's like, look, I didn't mean to offend you. Like, just mean that you're reliable. Like, it's positive. And she's like, well, I'm tired of being reliable. I'm tired of being everybody's doormat and getting walked all over. This is bullshit. I'm done with this. I'm storming off. Then she storms off and Buffy runs after her. She's like, hey, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this. And then Willow turns to her and is like, Buffy, I'm storming off. I can't storm off until you follow me. Goodbye.
It's literally the same scene that Oz had when he tried to storm off in the werewolf one, where he turned away and then Willow went after him. He's like, hey, I'm trying to do the manly walk away, don't show my emotion thing.
Yeah. It was great. I knew that we had seen it before, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm glad that you remember that.
Yeah.
So Willow walks away and then she's walking through school. She's eating her banana. She's like, fuck yeah, I'm eating my banana. It's not even lunch. She's walking up the stairs and
then they showed her eating the banana for like 5 minutes, and I thought, this is not right.
Yeah, she was sensually deep throating the banana,
just unpeeling it for like a minute, close-ups, sultry music.
It was like, that's my impression. That's sexy music. So she walks up the stairs and Anyanka, she's like, hey, Willow, I got a question for you. I got a project that I need your help on. And Willow turns around. She's like, oh, yeah, you need help from Old Reliable, huh? Oh, that's what everybody wants. I'm just Old Reliable. And then Anyanka's like, it's a black magic dark arts project and I need your help with it. And Willow's like, oh, fuck yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm in for that.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
Just so many people in the school just practice dark arts. That's the moment I'm like, wait, so you could just walk up to someone and be like, hey, are you doing witchcraft tonight? Yeah, no, I was thinking about studying, but I guess I could dabble in some witchcraft.
It's also funny because Willow hasn't met Anyanka before.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, I'm friends with Cordelia. And then Willow's just like, oh, okay.
Every lesson is don't play around with witchcraft. And they can't get Amy back to form yet. They can do all this other stuff, but they can't fix Amy.
She's still working on that pencil thing.
Yeah.
So Willow and Anyanka start doing the spell to get Anyanka's power center, her necklace back. And they're, getting all the ingredients together. And then they start the spell and they hold hands. And then Willow has a flash. She gets a recap of the Wish episode in her mind. And then she pulls away and she's like, what was that? What happened just now? I just saw a bunch of crazy shit. And Anyanka's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Do we think we got to get back to going and doing this though? The spells didn't work. And Willow's like, I think I'm not going to fucking do this, dude. I don't know you. I'm just realizing that you are kind of weird and I know nothing about you, and I don't know anything about the spell, so I'm going to leave.
Why did they do the spell in a classroom? They always do it in a classroom.
Yeah. It's just when they do it, man.
It's
the
like
most convenient place.
Hey, do you want to go to Willow's private entrance room?
No.
Like, no.
Dude, remember when they were going bowling and they were meeting up at a classroom?
That was crazy. But when they were doing secretive witch stuff, when they were trying to do that protection spell with that other with Amy and the other witch,
Michael, yeah.
they were in like someone's house.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, don't do it on school grounds. Like she's hacking. She's hacking into the mayor from the library's computer. Like
true. I wonder if she's using a VPN. This podcast now sponsored by NordVPN.
The first one's free, Nord.
Yeah. Join the Patreon to get this ad-free podcast. But Willow's like, yeah, I don't trust you anymore. I don't know anything about the spell, and you seem like you're kind of an asshole, so I'm leaving. And also, witchcraft is bad.
Yeah. I'm taking my chicken feet or whatever. Yeah.
So she leaves, and then Anyanka's like, God damn it, this sucks. It was so close. We were so close to doing it. She takes the plate that they were doing the spell on, and she smashes it on the ground. And as she smashes it on the ground, there's some kind of weird disturbance in reality. And the Willow from the Wish reality is transported into this reality, the Alpha world line.
Yeah, Sunnydale is fully in the metaverse now.
Yes.
Because I don't want to dive too deep into it, but the world that existed when they made the Wish is now a real world.
Yes.
Because it didn't exist before.
Mm-hmm.
It split off into a new timeline. It had to,
Yeah. This is going to get complicated if we go this route, Vance.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna back it up. I do have one more thing to say, but I'll say it at the end.
Okay.
So we don't derail.
So from here on, I'm going to refer to these two separate Willows as Vampire Willow and Real World Willow.
Wait, how am I supposed to tell which one you're talking about? Is there an easier way?
Real Willow, Vampire Willow. I have it written in my notes here as VW and RW.
I kept calling her Evil Willow in my notes for a while, and then I switched it to Vamp Willow. I don't know why. I want to say I don't think we've given enough credit yet to how good Alyson Hannigan is in this episode.
Yeah, she's great. She's portraying two different characters, and they have unique quirks, and it's so good.
And she's so good as Willow, as good Willow. Like, just like even without the other person, like even before we get to that, she's killing it.
Dude, there's even some of my favorite acting later in this episode that Alyson Hannigan's ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Vampire Willow wakes up in this reality in the warehouse where she was killed. But now she wakes up and she's like, oh, this is different. This is weird. Okay. And then she starts walking the streets of Sunnydale at night. And there's a bunch of people out. They're all having fun. They're at the movie theater.
How does this town function?
Yeah. And Vampire Willow is looking around like, this isn't right. This is fucked up. Like, where I'm from, this is all over with. We got rid of this. What's going on here? So she's confused. And then somebody like bumps into her.
No, an old woman comes up to her to ask her something.
Oh, okay.
And then Vamp Willow turns and doesn't do full vamp face, but just does a growl. And
she does do vamp face.
It's like she doesn't go full vamp. Like she might do a little bit of teeth, but she doesn't go full vamp face here.
Oh, okay.
And she growls, and the old lady stops and like doesn't know which way to turn. She's so like frightened, and she walks away. It's a great little weird moment.
You're absolutely right. She does not go vamp face here. Yeah. I just have vampire noise. You're right.
Yeah.
So then she's like, well, you know what? Something's wrong. There's people on the streets. I don't know where I am. This looks like Sunnydale, but This isn't the Sunnydale that I know. You know what? I'm going to go to my old haunt, my old lair. I'm going to go to the Bronze.
Is the Bronze based off of a real place or just a nightclub for them? Like, can we go to the Bronze?
We can in Hollywood. They have the Buffy the Vampire night at Knucklehead's Bar, and they take over. It's the Bronze. They put a bunch of Bronze logo all over it. It's called Knucklehead in Hollywood. It's on, I think, Santa Monica Boulevard.
Okay.
I emailed that guy to see if we could do a live podcast from there, and he never got back to me.
Well,
look,
yeah.
People, Patreon subscribers, I'm trying to get some other interesting content.
Did you email him? Did you email him this morning?
No, I emailed him a couple weeks ago. I followed him. My buddy knows him. He put in a good word, and I DM'd him on Instagram, and he never replied. Left me on red.
It's a busy Buffy season right now. This is high Buffy season.
I think they do it every month. Like I was like, yo, we wanted to do a live podcast here. We were Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. It'll be dope. Left on red.
Sorry for everybody who bought their tickets to LA for that.
Yeah. Maybe next year. where we'll be in season 5 of the show. Yeah. She goes to the Bronze and she runs into Percy, the jock asshole. And he sees her there and he's like, whoa, crazy getup. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be working on my history assignment? And Vampire Willow's like, I don't know you, but I don't like how you're ordering me around. And she just shoves him and he flies across this pool table and slams on his back. He's like, fuck, what the hell? Man, it was great.
Yep.
And he yelled at her too. He's like, what are you doing, you nerd? Do my fucking homework, you dumb nerd.
Well, we've already established that Sunnydale is the most toxic place in the world.
Yeah,
and no one should live there with or without vampires.
So after she shoves him over the pool table, she walks over to him and she's like, I don't really like you and I don't like how you're talking to me. And then she just starts choking him. She does a fucking full Undertaker, Big Show, hold him up by his neck, choke him. And Xander comes in.
Wait, and he starts to reach back to choke her.
Yeah.
So he's got his hand on her throat as well. And the weirdest thing is, there are a ton of people around.
Oh, yeah, there's a load of people.
And no one's doing anything.
Everyone's just watching.
They're not even saying anything. There's not a commotion. There's not a bouncer. They're just like, all right, that nerdy girl from high school is choking the jock from the basketball team that must be the most important person to the principal. All right.
Whoa, isn't it crazy? And Xander arrives. And he is saying this to no one. No one's looking at him. We've never seen him interact with any of these people.
He's just next to a group of people when he starts moving. Yeah.
He comes in and he goes, hey, how's it going, everybody? Anything crazy happening? And then he looks up and he sees Willow choking Percy, Vampire Willow choking Percy. And he goes, whoa! And he runs over. And like you said, Percy's trying to choke her back. And he takes Percy out of the air and puts him on the ground. He goes, get away from her. Dude, wrong person.
And also, I love that. I think when he first came up there, he was actually reacting to what's supposed to be them all staring at something crazy.
Oh, okay.
But it's not really, you don't get that vibe that they're like amazed. It feels like people are just standing around and something's happening. No one's like, oh my God.
To me, it more seemed like he's Cosmo Kramer and he's bursting in saying his catchphrase. Yeah. Hey, is anything crazy happening? I also have to say he has different hair in this scene and it bugged me.
What doesn't bug you, Joe?
His hair is completely different.
People can't wear fuzzy sweaters. They can't have their hair. It was parted the wrong way.
It was parted the wrong way.
They can't part their hair.
And it was dry. Usually his hair is kind of greasy looking. His hair is dry and it's parted the wrong way.
We're going to have to get a Joe's do's and don'ts.
So he saves that guy. And Vampire Willow looks at Xander and she's like, I know you. What's up with you? You look different. And then she like hugs him and he's like, hey, okay, cool. You look different too. What's up with this goth getup? I mean, it looks good, but this is different. What are you doing? And then she starts like stroking him and grabbing him as she's hugging him. And he's like, whoa, what is this? This is a little handsy here. We've gone over this. We don't do this anymore. And then she goes even lower and she goes to like put her hands in his pants or something. And he's like,
I think
whoa!
she's grabbing his butt. I think his butt grabs.
And Xander goes, whoa, what is this? What are you doing? And then he backs up and Vampire Willow's like, what's up? We do this.
Well, when she first sees him, she's like, you're alive. And he's like, yeah, of course. I like it that way. They get a call back. Then later they mention that like Willow has a moment too about being alive, like good Willow. But she's like, you're alive. And then she hugs him and she's really close to necks. Every time I see a vampire close to the neck, I'm like, it's so easy. Just bite him. And then she's like, oh no, you're like really alive.
Yeah.
Because she's expecting cool vampire one. And I'm surprised she didn't just bite him and turn him right there.
Yes, that would have been awesome. But instead, Buffy shows up and she's like, whoa, what's up with the getup, Willow? I mean, good on you, but what's going on here?
It's not Halloween. And you're dressed as me, I guess, or whatever you're supposed to be.
And Willow sees Buffy and she's like, I know you. I don't like you. And Buffy's like, all right, I'm sorry for earlier. I told you I didn't mean to call you old reliable. And then Willow gets up in her face. She's like, no, I fucking don't like you. And then she walks away. And Xander and Buffy are like, what is up with her? And then she turns back, and this is when she goes full vampire face.
Yeah.
And then Buffy and Xander are left there stunned, like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Shit has just hit the fan.
I love that they don't follow after her or nothing.
Yeah.
Something bad happens, they're like, we go to Giles next. We don't even find out what happened, who turned her, how it happened, like nothing.
Yeah. Because if they did follow her, this next scene wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So now Vampire Willow, is walking the streets alone at night. And by streets, I mean dark alleys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's walking the dark alley, and two vampires show up and they go, Willow Rosenbloom. And Vampire Willow turns, she's like, yeah, who's asking? And they're like, you got to come with us. And they go to attack her, and Vampire Willow just beats the crap out of these guys.
Yep.
And then she's got...
I know that this Willow is really strong. Or, like, she's really evil. But, I mean, like, when you're a vampire, like, where do you learn to fight?
It's just instilled in you. I mean, when you're a slayer, where do you learn to fight?
Well, they do go training.
Training montages, Yeah, I would think that vampires are more...
Wouldn't you think
animalistic fighters? And
wouldn't you think an
primal.
older vampire would, since they don't really age, would just have more experience fighting versus a younger one?
Yeah, you would think that.
Yeah, that's all.
But Willow easily defeats these two goons, and she's got the one guy that was talking to her in like an arm lock, and she's got her foot on his head, and he's like, oh, please don't do this. You won. And Vampire Willow is
he's like, we were after a human, not a vampire.
Yeah.
So the mayor sent these people after Willow, which we're going to get to,
So, Willow goes, who do you work for? And then she's like bending back the vampire's finger, and it's like, we work for Mayor Wilkins. As she breaks his finger. He's like, oh, shit, why?
He doesn't scream enough for me. It doesn't. He screams like, oh.
And then Vampire Willow goes, no. Who do you work for? And he's like, you?
Yeah, I was so confused when she asked that again. I was like, is she just breaking fingers for fun at this point?
That's what I thought too. And then she breaks his other finger.
Well, she broke his finger. He said mayor. She broke his finger after mayor, and then he says,
"Oh, okay."
So it's not once he says, "I work for you," she lets him go.
Okay. So now Vampire Willow is getting a gang of her own vampires together, which is a kind of a cool fucking thing.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
It's a cool shot, and you know what? This helped explain how I've always wondered why vampires don't go solo. I think they have a pack mentality.
Yeah.
And the leader of the pack just controls the rest of them. Like she beat up the bigger goon and then told the bigger goon that all of his goons are her goons. And I think that's just how it works.
It's like a wolf mentality.
Yeah.
So yeah, she let those two stand up and Vampire Willow is like, you know what? I don't like how this town is. I don't like this reality. We're gonna make it like my reality. It's a lot better. So your goons are now my goons. You work for me now, and we're gonna make this like alternate reality Sunnydale, starting with the bronze. I was like, hell yeah.
I know. I was like, I remember what that bronze was. It was like dudes in cages and people just eating people on the pool table.
Yeah, like, dudes strapped to the pool table. Because if you don't remember, in the Wish episode, the bronze is the master's lair and it's overrun with vampires. So Vampire Willow wants to make this happen. So Buffy and Xander go to the library to tell Giles about what happened to Willow, and they're like, I can't believe this happened. This is unbelievable. Willow, oh my God, what are we going to do without Willow? We're freaking out, man. And they're like, Willow was the best of us. And Xander goes, yeah, Willow was way better than me. And Giles goes, yeah, much, much, much better.
I love that moment. This scene overall, even when Willow shows up, is just great. I love this library scene.
It's a great scene.
Yeah.
Then they all start blaming themselves. Buffy's like, I shouldn't have called her old reliable. And Xander's like, I shouldn't have fucked Faith.
What does he actually say? Does he say that?
I don't remember.
What does he say? I don't remember what he said. Yeah.
But they're all
but you might as well have.
They're beating themselves up. And then real Willow shows up. And Xander leaps to his feet. He grabs a cross and shoves it in her face. And he's like, "Be gone, demon from the underworld." And real Willow is like, what's going on, guys? What's happening? What is this? And then they're all like, wait, you're alive? And Willow is like, I like to keep it that way, or whatever the old line was earlier.
She's like, I usually am. She's like, you're alive. Like that's normal status or something like that. Yeah.
So then Xander and Buffy hug Willow really tightly, and Willow's like, okay, oxygen deprivation becoming a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's like full Willow and Whedonisms.
Yeah.
Willow Whedonisms.
And then so Buffy and Xander unclench their grasps, and then Giles has a running hug, and he's basically just like tackles Willow.
Yeah.
He doesn't knock her over, but he's like, oh my God,
it was
God,
a hug fest, man.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm so fucking happy that you're... And Willow's like, Giles?
I do love that he said she's the best of all of us.
Yeah.
Giles, you're a well-educated watcher who also does witchcraft.
So then he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just got a little caught up in everything. And Willow's like, okay, thanks. I'm glad that we're all doing this. This is really nice. I'm happy to receive your hugs. Side question. Are you guys on drugs right now? Which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And then they end up telling her, like, no, dude, we saw a doppelganger of you, and we saw a vampire version of you. Looked exactly like you, moved like you, talked like... I don't know why they said that, because it did not move or talk like Willow.
Yeah. It did have... Not as... It had some Willow stuff to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like... When is the line where she goes, I'm not a vampire? Like, her delivery of that line was so funny. I forget how it's set up, but they were like, I thought you were a vampire. She's like, I'm not a vampire. And she just gets like so angry. Like it's like the same way when she's called old reliable. Like she was so pissed.
That. Don't call me two things.
Don't call me a vampire.
Reliable or a vampire.
Yeah.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all complain all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want raises too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with a new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there? Taking bribes? Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
In this ad for the Mobile One brand, I have 30 seconds to talk about driving, which might be what you're doing right now. Maybe you're in the car, you're free, you're in control, on an open road with an open calendar. Your mind is wandering, and you're going with it. Or maybe you're stuck at work, in meetings, or emails, or worse, meetings about emails. And if that's the case, there's only one question. Why? Mobile One, for the love of driving. Visit loveofdriving.us/radio to learn more.
So then the next scene is Anya at the Bronze.
Wait. This scene has the best like ending line for Xander, because Giles is saying like, she's like, wait, how's there two vampires? What's going on? And Giles says something like, there's some crazy stuff going on. And Xander goes, can you believe the Watcher Council let this one go?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the sickest burn he's had.
That's right. I forgot about
Dude, this
that.
scene
Was
from
so
the
good.
Like Xander's line about she was way better and Giles shitting on him to then him shitting on Giles at the end. Plus, it was just so good.
Their love-hate relationship is so well, that maybe even hate. Like,
can you believe they let this one go? So good.
Yeah. That was like when he rescued him and Giles was like, this is all just a fantasy. And it's like, really, in your fantasies, you imagine me? And Giles was like, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I love that burp. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So glad that you remembered. But yeah, then we go to Anyanka at the Bronze and she's trying to get a beer. And the Bronze guy's like, ID. And Anya's like, are you serious? He's like, ID. She goes, I'm fucking 1100 years old. I am a demon. I know so much more than you. I've seen things and done things. You have no idea who you're talking to. And the guy just goes, ID. And it's like, fine, I'll have a Coke.
It is a great performance by the bartender.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they actually card people.
I know. So Oz and the singer of the band are talking about how they need to get a roadie or some shit. And Angel shows up. And Angel's like, goes up to Oz and he's like, hey, you know where Buffy is? And Oz is like, no, she's not around, but she said she might show up. So who knows what happens? And just as they're talking about that,
I love that Angel just pops out of corners like, Buffy here? Buffy here? Buffy here?
He did it so casually too. He was like leaning up against the speakers.
But he always does that. Like even in the Zeppo episode, he warms in. He's like, "Hey, is Buffy here?" With Xander's with the guy. Like he's just always just like, "Dude, man, get a hobby,
dude." Also, get a cell phone. You gotta get these people cell phones.
This is not prime cell phone time.
Look, I know that.
Yeah, but she does have a pager, and payphones are around.
Okay.
Instead of, I don't know the layout of Sunnydale that well, but I know that'd be easier than to go to the library, the Bronze, and then to the graveyards.
And aren't there? Didn't they say there's like 14 graveyards? Or something? Yeah. Oh man. So as Oz and Angel are talking, a gang is out. Zombies. A gang of vampires bust into the Bronze. And it's Willow's gang, Vampire Willow's gang. And they're like, listen up, everybody. We're going to start doing some violence against you.
So at this point, does everyone know vampires exist? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
I was just about to say.
Are we there yet?
This episode breaks everything.
Like, come on, right?
Because they're not even hiding. They are full vampire face. And then Anyanka notices that Vampire Willow's there, and she's like, what? This is peculiar. What's going on here? This is very odd. And Oz is like, you gotta go get Buffy, dude. You gotta go get Buffy. And Angel's like, I don't know. Maybe we can take them. And it's like, there's fucking like 10 of them, dude.
Yeah, he says this before Willow walks in.
Yeah.
And then once he sees Willow, that's when he's
that's when he's like, go get Buffy.
Yeah. And the craziest thing is when they reveal the shot of where the stage is, where Oz was standing and where Willow was standing, how did she not see Angel?
How does she not see Oz? How does she not see anybody?
Well, see, I could see not paying attention to Oz because it's not like they were boyfriends. He's a white hat in her reality. But she knows Angel because they used to torture him and called him a puppy. So you would see him and be like, oh my God, him. You know?
Well, then he is kind of like hidden away in the darkness, it seems like.
Not when they cut to that reverse angle. Like, he's like right in front of the stage with Oz. But yeah, so I mean, whatever, it's minor.
So Vampire Willow comes out and she's like, guess what? We're taking this place over and crazy shit's about to go down. And then she starts to go up to this girl and she's petting her and stroking her arm. And she's like, you seem like a nice lady. What's your name? She's like, my name's Sandy.
I love she's sitting at a high top table like she's at a jazz club. Like the Bronze is such an interesting place.
So Vampire Willow takes Sandy away from this high top and she drags her to the middle of the dance floor in front of everyone. And I would say there's probably 50, 60 people in the Bronze right now.
Easily.
And Vampire Willow is talking to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, we have the power to make you young forever and stronger than you could ever imagine. And then she goes behind Sandy and Sandy's looking around like, okay, this is a little weird. I don't know. She pulls Sandy's hair from over her neck and then just feasts on Sandy in front of everyone.
After licking her neck.
Oh, true. After licking her neck.
Yes.
That's Vampire Willow's trademark.
Yes.
And Sandy just hits the deck, dude, after this feast.
She vampire murders someone in front of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And after this happens, Oz goes up to her. He's like, what are you doing? You can't do that. Don't do this. You're stronger than this. And Vampire Willow looks at Oz and she goes, what are you talking to me for? You're a white hat. I know you. And Oz is like, what are you talking about, dude? What is this white hat? And then Anyanka comes up and she's like, hey, I'm going to explain this entire situation to everybody, okay? So I'm an immortal demon from a different world, and I have the power to grant wishes, and your friend Cordelia had a wish that made an alternate reality, and this Willow is from that reality. And in that reality, she's a vampire, and she is one of the most powerful vampires. Everybody up to speed?
Here's the thing that this scene is missing. Cuts to the crowd for reaction shots during this. That is what's missing. It seems like everyone else is just standing there like, all right, I guess that girl that somebody might have known is dead. And the nerdy girl from school that we just saw choke out the best basketball player, she did it.
Yeah.
So, like, all right. And no one is panicking. No one is, like, trying to run because, oh, my God, someone died in front of me and I'm a high schooler.
Well, it's not like the doors are blocked off or anything.
Like,
are there vampires at the doors, maybe?
Maybe, but who wouldn't try to run? You mean to tell me, like, no one's going to try and be a hero? Like,
Dude,
we get a lot of pushback on saying, well, sometimes we get pushback of that. They're high schoolers. They're just doing high school things.
Yeah.
It's no way a bunch of high schoolers at the Bronze are just sitting silently while this is happening.
I mean, if you just rushed the vampires at the door, yeah, sure. Two might die.
Some frat bro would definitely try to make a run.
Yeah. And now that we know that they serve alcohol at the Bronze, which is something that we've been speculating about for a while, there's definitely people older than 21. There's definitely like
somebody's got to have some beer muscles.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be something.
Yeah. It's just no noise, no chatter, no like, even like a hostage situation with real people in like banks. Everyone's screaming. They're like, get out, be quiet, we have guns. And people are like, screaming. They were like, hey, we just walked in with nothing and we're vampires. Shut up. Yeah. Music stopped. It got quiet. The DJ was like, nope. Like everything just stopped.
Well, dude, I loved your run of like, oh, vampires just showed up. Nobody runs. Vampire Willow kills somebody in front of everyone. Nobody runs or says anything.
Yeah.
Anya comes out, explains that there are vampires. She's a demon, and this is an alternate reality situation. Still, no reaction.
I just need a reaction shot of someone being confused and scared. Just a girl like cowering and someone being like, what's happening?
Just like Jonathan, just in the background, just being like, fuck this.
We're missing Jonathan. That is what we're missing.
Jonathan or Larry.
Yeah.
Larry just being like, oh God, I always knew something was up with her.
Where are those guys? We haven't seen them in a while.
I don't know. They're the other white hats. Well, Larry was.
Jonathan would be perfect in this scene.
He would have been absolutely
just
perfect.
To cut to him,
reaction him with his giant glug or whatever.
Yeah, he could be eating some a big muffin.
Yeah, and then like do that thing where his jaw drops and part of the muffin falls out of his.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a wild scene to be happening publicly.
Why would you ever go back to the Bronze?
I don't know. So now we go back to the gang. The original Scooby Gang, and they're talking about Vampire Willow, and they're like, yeah, it's crazy. You should have seen yourself, dude, as a vampire. You were wearing all kinds of leather. And I was like, I mean, maybe this could be Willow if she's like all of a sudden, into that kind of stuff. And then she makes some kind of dominatrix comment.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, me and Oz are doing dominatrix stuff.
Yeah.
And it like really creeps out Xander and Buffy.
Yeah.
Because she says it so like cheery.
Yeah. And then this is a great moment here, but I do have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
So now Angel shows up in the library, and he's frantic because of what he just saw at the Bronze, and he comes into the library.
He's thinking, I might not be able to sleep with Buffy because she's going to be so hurt to find out that her friend is a vampire.
Going to get to bang Buffy again and become the world's most evil vampire.
If she's
how am I
mourning
supposed to
her
get
friend.
my happy? So he comes in, he's so distraught. He's like, Buffy, guys, you have no idea what I just saw at the Bronze. I hate to break this news to you. Willow's dead. Willow's a vampire. I just saw her at the Bronze. I'm so sorry. And he looks down at the ground, and he turns to his right where real world Willow is standing, and she just kind of like waves to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, hey, what's up, Willow? And he's like, wait, Willow?
It's straight out of a sitcom.
Yeah.
The moment, I get that you want to kind of have that moment. I would have, instead of the hi Willow, I would have wanted him to like freak out or charge at her or something.
Yeah.
Like instead of like that, oh, hey, wait, what? Double take?
See, this is where the problem that I have with this scene is like, we're supposed to, like, Angel's supposed to be this like serious character, like a brooding guy.
Mm-hmm.
But every, like, I would say 4 or 5 episodes, they just make a total ass out of him.
Yeah, he's very silly. And the performance is like, it's so out of character for him to, even when he's delivering the bad news, it seems like he's delivering it as a way for the setup.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's actually telling them that.
Yeah. So he sees that, and then he turns back to Buffy and he's like, wait, what's going on? And they're like, look, we're trying to figure it out too. But what we do know is there's this Willow who is the real Willow, and then there's this vampire alternate reality Willow. That's all we know. And Angel goes, well, Vampire Willow is at the Bronze, and she's got a gang, and they're looking to party. And so they're like, all right, well, we got to head to the Bronze. So the gang all starts to head to the Bronze, and real world Willow is like, wait, what should I do? And then Buffy's like,
well, that's not what she said. She says, what are we going to do about other me? And they're like, I don't know. Like, we have to do something. Like, she doesn't. It's like Willow's seed of like not wanting to hurt the other version of herself.
Yeah.
Which we can get into. I don't really fully understand that.
Dude.
But I've never met my doppelganger before. So, and it's weird because they all are like leaving to go. And she's like, wait, I got to do something. And I think she's thinking to go to the computer. I think she's thinking about maybe Anya and the spell.
Yes. I think that's where her head is at, where she can try to do a reverse spell of what they just did.
Is that what
earlier.
Is that what she's going to? Because she goes to reach over the desk where the computer is.
Or maybe she was like, fuck, I got to write that paper about Bosnia.
Yeah, I got some homework to do real quick.
Oh, shit, I got to write Percy West's homework.
And the only lesson I have from this is don't leave people alone in the school. Have you not learned your lesson, Giles?
That's been the lesson for the last season, I feel.
Yeah. But so she goes back anyway.
Yeah, she goes back to the computer, and Vampire Willow sneaks up behind her, and she's like, oh, isn't this something interesting? And then that's like the commercial break moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then Vampire Willow is like, I heard that you're the person that can help me take me back to my reality. I don't like this world. This world sucks. My reality is so much better. And Anyanka said that you're a witch and you can help me get back. And then real Willow is like, I mean, why would I want to help you or something? And then they get into a tussle, and Vampire Willow
they don't get in a tussle. She's behind her and she's flirting with her, and she like licks her neck, and she's like, do you want to be dark? That happens before they fight.
They do have a fight.
They have a fight after she like licks her neck and talks to her, like and flirts with her and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, don't get rid of the neck licking and the
about
groping.
The neck licking. Yeah.
Yeah,
because she does the same hands line that Xander did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I don't know what your deal is, but you're really starting to freak me out, man. And I don't know if I want to help you. And then they get into a tussle.
Yeah. You know what's also interesting though? It's like when she was standing behind, when Evil Willow standing behind Good Willow, it was kind of like when Spike was standing behind her in that one episode when they were in the basement
and he was drunk or whatever.
He was drunk and like he's like kind of want to bite her, and she did the same push off move where she's like, hey, don't bite me, don't do this because I can help you. And like this one, I feel like Evil Willow was like, hey, you sure you don't want to be bad with me? And I can turn you. And once she growled, she's like, oh, get away from me. And she pushes her away.
Like Willow has really given herself some armor by being this witch because, Spike wanted to use her for her witchcraft. And then she's like, well, if you turn me, I can't do the spell for you. And same kind of thing happens here a little bit.
Which is, TV show convenient that Anya's been around for 1,000 years, but doesn't know more than one witch.
Yeah.
Like, you could just throw a stone and hit a witch. Like, even Jackal Tool's uncle knows, like, how to bring people back from the dead. So, like...
Why wouldn't she have harassed that kid, Michael?
Yeah, like anybody.
Yeah.
Like, but it's the convenience. You have to bring Willow and the gang into this.
Just go and knock on Amy the Rat's hamster wheel. Then they start to have a tussle, and Vampire Willow chucks real Willow over the library desk, and then as she's rounding the corner, real Willow grabs that fucking tranquilizer gun, dude.
They're getting so much. When they showed it the first time, I was like, oh, they'll use it just for the werewolf episode. It comes out so much.
Yeah. And then Good Willow shoots Bad Willow, and Bad Willow goes, you bitch.
Yeah. So you can tranquilize vampires, so they must have a circulatory system.
They do bleed. So. Look, I'm not even going to get it. I'm usually the one asking the questions, and everybody in the Discord's like, you're such a fucking jackass. So I'm not even going to
Hey, I'm
ask
still
these
trying to figure out
questions
if they
anymore.
poop or not. So
Do they poop blood?
do they just
What's
poop at
their
all?
digestive system? So after she shoots her with the tranquilizer gun, Good Willow takes Vampire Willow into library jail. Of course, that's where you lock all bad things.
Which we later find out is called the book cage, but we're going to call it library jail.
We're going to continue calling it library jail because that's what it is.
Yeah, if you cross the Scooby Gang, you get put in library jail.
That's just how it goes, man.
That's where Faith should be the whole episode. She should just be in library jail.
Voluntarily. If she wants to earn this gang's trust again, volunteer to be in library jail.
The only time she gets to let out is when Oz needs to be put in there for werewolf.
Yeah. So the gang is also there as they're putting her in library jail, and Willow's like, man, this is kind of freaky. Like, I ran into my evil self, and wow, I'm evil, I'm skanky, I think I'm kind of gay. And then
this moment means so much.
And then Buffy goes, don't worry about it, Willow. Usually once a person is turned into a vampire, it has nothing to do with their former self. And then Angel goes, well, actually, and then Buffy gives him a look and he goes, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
I love that her evil doppelganger vampire just outed her.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's very well done.
Yeah. So now that they have her locked up in library jail, the gang's like, all right, so there's still a horde of vampires at the Bronze. What are we going to do about that?
Wait,
and Angel,
here's my question. How did they know to come back?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Willow paged Buffy.
Sent
her an IM on her pager.
Here's the crazy thing. Anya told Evil Willow about Good Willow being able to help her, right?
Yeah.
So Evil Willow leaves the Bronze and comes all the way to the library. She doesn't take more vampires with her. She goes by herself and just leaves a bunch of... Is the Bronze around the corner?
It must be.
I thought it was like in a bad part of town.
I think that's just because we always see it in a wet alley.
No, that's what Cordelia says in the pilot.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Maybe the high school's in a bad part of town.
The whole town's a bad part of town.
That's true. It's literally in a hellmouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, wait a minute, we got a whole gang of vampires back at the Bronze. And Angel's like, yeah, man, there's like 8 to 10 of them. And I'll be honest with you, they're not going to stay idle for long. They're going to start fucking shit up.
Dude, she broke a vampire's 2 fingers and she got them like on lock. Like they're not even moving. Like, and nobody at the Bronze is even like doing anything all this time. They're just sitting there watching vampires stare at them. Like nothing is happening at the Bronze. Dude. It's insane. It's insane.
They're just all sitting there, and all the regular humans are sitting there idle too.
Just like, yeah. Anya's just standing there waiting.
It's like if a tree drops in the forest, does anyone around to hear it? Like if a member of the Scooby Gang is not at the Bronze, nothing is happening.
Nothing happens, yeah. The Truman Show. Like they walk in and like, okay, time to move.
Yeah. So then they're like, sorry, so what's the plan? What are we going to do next? And Buffy raises her hand. She goes, I mean, I have a plan. It might be kind of dumb. And as soon as she said that, I knew exactly where we were going.
I did too. And I was like, I love it. I can't wait.
So now the gang is at the Bronze. And Willow, real Willow, comes walking around the corner dressed up as Vampire Willow.
Mm-hmm.
And she's having a hard time walking in the shoes. And they're like, how do you feel? She goes, it's a little tight. It's a little hard to breathe. I guess vampires don't really need to breathe. And she looks down at her boobs, which are pushed up because she's wearing a corset. She goes, oh, look at those. And you get a shot of Xander. He does a look down. And he goes, oh.
He's good for what you need him to do. Yeah,
absolutely is. And so the plan is they're going to send regular Willow in, and she's going to try and lure as many of the vampires outside without notice, and distract Anya and the other head honcho goon in the bronze, and see how long she can buy time for Buffy and Angel and all them to kill vampires.
Yeah, or they could have just run in like they, like I don't understand. I understand. Let's have this scene, but that's not a really good plan.
Yeah. So Willow goes up and she knocks on the door, and the door bouncer vampire opens, and she comes in all chipper like she's like, "Oh, thank you." And she comes in, and Anya's like, "Okay, where's the girl?" And Willow's like, "I killed her." And Anya's like, "Why the fuck would you do that?" And then Willow's like, I don't know. And then she starts to snap into this Vampire Willow character, and she's like, "I was bored. Everything's so boring." And as she's walking by, she tries to put her fingers through some girl's hair, and her fingers get stuck.
Yeah.
And she's like, she pulls her fingers out. She's like, that was weird.
And the girl doesn't even really react to this at all either.
Not at all. She no-sells this.
You just saw her kill the first girl that she grabbed.
Yeah.
Why would you not? And she just talked about killing another girl.
Yeah. And then so she goes up to the vampire by the door, and she goes, "You know what? I think I heard something outside when I was coming in. Would you go check on that?" And the vampire's like, "Of course." He takes one step outside, gets rushed by Angel and Buffy immediately stakes this vampire.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking hilarious, and I hope they do this 10 times.
Yeah, right.
And then so Anya is confused, and she's like, "Well, I just don't understand why you would kill real Willow, because that's your only ticket back to your reality. I can't do the spell without her. So you just killed your only chance, and you also fucked up my only chance. So what the fuck are you doing?" And Vampire Willow is just like, "Don't fucking worry about it. I got this under control. I am an evil leading vampire. All right?" And then she taps another vampire on the shoulder, and she goes, "You know that first guy that just left? He's been gone for a while. Would you go check on him?" And that guy's like, "Yes, ma'am." He goes running outside to his death.
Yeah. I love that Anya's also like, vampires, always thinking with your teeth.
Yeah. And then Oz is in the corner, and he's seeing all this happen, and he gets a little smirk because he's like, I know that's not Vampire Willow. Yeah.
She like waves at him, and she does like a walk across the room.
Yeah. And he's like, "This is awesome.
And
my
of course,
girlfriend is dope."
And of course, no one sees this because no one is reacting to Anya clearly saying vampire.
Yep.
Loud as hell. And Willow's like, "I'm a vampire." Everyone's saying vampire.
Yeah.
It's insane.
If you're a regular person in Sunnydale and you hear all this and you're like, "Wow, these are crazy people. They think they're vampires." Regardless of that, you saw them kill somebody.
With their teeth.
With their teeth. Like, you are in some danger. Even if vampires aren't real and these are just crazy people that think that they're vampires.
Yeah. But anyway. It's a level of denial that one could only wish to achieve.
So Vampire Willow wakes up in library jail now, and she's wearing real Willow's fuzzy, awful outfit, and she's like, "Oh, this feels so fuzzy. What is going on?"
I have Joe goosebumps.
Yeah. So then Cordelia shows up in the library in a sparkly dress, looking like she's going to prom or something.
It looks like she's going to a banquet or an elegant dinner, like a date. This is a date. Something. Like she is dressed to the nines, to the tens even.
Tell me if you think this is what this means, because she shows up and she's like, "Hey, Giles, I need a book or something. And then she goes, Wesley? Are you here, Wesley? Do you think that she wore that sparkly dress to kind of seduce Wesley?
Yeah, 100%. There's like no subtlety at all to it.
Okay, I thought there was a little bit of subtlety.
She's like, I just need to read a book in a library, but I just wanted to get dressed up first.
Yeah. Okay.
No, she's completely going for Wesley.
And then Vampire Willow sees Cordelia and she's like, hey, I know you. And Cordelia looks over, she's like, what the hell happened to you? Why are you stuck in library jail?
She says the book cage, but she should have said library jail.
She should say library jail.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And she's like, what happened? Did you did you trip and fall and lock yourself in there? And Vampire Willow's like, yeah, I guess so. Will you let me out? Will you let me out, please? Cordelia's like, okay, I mean, I guess I can, but I'm only doing this because I'm a good human. She goes and grabs the keys, and she's about to put the key into the keyhole, and Vampire Willow's like, yes. And then she pulls the key away, and she goes, you know what? Actually, I feel like we need to have a talk. We never got to have a talk about the whole ethics of boyfriend stealing. And Vampire Willow's like, what the hell is this?
I do like that Cordelia wants to have this talk. And it makes sense because we should have had this scene at some point.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with them not having it if they wanted to save it for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they plotted out the season, they were like, oh, we want her to have this with her doppelganger, which will make it annoying and funny. I'm like, all right, well done.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Yeah.
So then we go back to real world Willow, who's disguised as Vampire Willow at the Bronze. And she's like, you know what? I don't even really want to kill anybody anymore. I'm so bored with killing. Let's just let all these people go.
Said no vampire ever.
Yeah. And Anyanka's like, wait a minute. You're not Vampire Willow. You're the real Willow. And then Willow goes, you know what? I think that we should kill people, actually. We should kill people. We should kill them, and we should start with her. We should start with her for doubting me. And then like Vampire Goon is like, no, I should have known this all along. God damn it.
Yeah, he said I should have smelled it because you can smell people. But before she went in, she said, what's going to be the code word if I'm in trouble? And Willow's like, screaming?
Yeah.
And then she's like, I can, because it leads to this great joke in there. And she's like, I can prove that I'm a vampire. I can do something only vampires can do. Or like something that no human can do or something like that. And then she just screams.
Yeah.
And then it's a 2-shot of like the lead vampire and Anya. And they're like, well, yeah, I mean, you can do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Vampires can totally do that.
Yeah, like humans can do that all the time. And then we get what could have happened 30 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's just Buffy and Angel just storm in.
And storm in and start beating the shit out of people with pool sticks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we go back to Cordelia lecturing Vampire Willow about, like, you know what? I didn't even really like Xander. It was just like we were so like in so many of these life or death situations. Of course, some hot and heavy shit's gonna happen. You know, I get horny about life or death situations. So I wasn't even really that into him, but it's kind of fucked up that you tried to steal him from me. It's not cool, dude. And then Vampire Willow is just like done with this conversation.
Yeah.
And she's slumped over and she's like, okay, I am sorry. I'm really sorry about stealing your boyfriend. And Cordelia's,
I'll never steal one of your boyfriends again.
And Cordelia's like, thank you. That is all I needed to hear. And she goes over.
No, Joe, she goes as if you could.
Yeah,
she's
true.
because she's like
she's still Cordelia.
Yeah, she's Cordelia. She's not worried about Willow, even though Willow did steal her once.
So she walks over and she's like, you know what? I think this was a great conversation. We need to have talks like this more often. And she opens up Library Joe and Vampire Willow's like, I agree. How about over dinner?
And I was like, wow, she's going to bite Cordelia.
I would have loved that.
Well, I was like, there's no way Cordelia gets out of this.
There is. She pushes and runs away from her.
We don't even see
high
the
heels.
We don't even see the push. We just see her running.
Oh, you're right. We just see her running in high heels and a sparkly, not very movement-friendly dress.
How she is able to even make it out of the library without being jumped on is insane. But sure.
Vampire Willow is chasing Cordelia, and then she chases her into a classroom, and Cordelia is backing up on her butt, and she's like, "No, I don't know what happened, but we're friends." Or I forget what her plea is.
Well, she's just flipping over. She's just flipping over desks and stuff, and I forget. I think she's like, "Oh, you could have Xander if you want, or something."
Oh, you're right. You can have him. You can have any of my boyfriends. Just leave me alone. Vampire was like, Cordelia gets up. She runs. She's screaming, and for whatever reason, Wesley is at the school.
I had a note in my thing. It was like, where's Wesley doing all of this? Like, there's real Slayer Watcher stuff happening, and he's nowhere to be found. And now he's just like, what is the school? Do people just roam around the school?
Yeah.
It's nighttime. I wanted to bring this up again, because I'm going to keep bringing it up every episode. If people are going to be sick of it. They have to have something in the library. Because when Willow walks in, when they're all sad the first time, when they were like, oh, Willow's dead, she's a vampire, and Willow just shows up and Xander runs up with a cross.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any protection. They know that she's a vampire and that she could come to the library. And then just like, and then they left her in library jail, and the school is not locked down. Like, they left a vampire in library jail.
Even just like hide crosses. Even if you're like, this is a public school, we can't have religious stuff.
Yeah.
Just put them, cleverly hide them somewhere. Like,
there should just be crosses tapes underneath desk.
Yeah. Like, just get a priest to come in and bless the school, or holy water only, or something.
The fountain should be holy watered up. Like, it just be,
So Wesley hears the screaming, and he's like, uh-oh, trouble's afoot. I am a brave man. I'm going to go run and see what's going on. And then Cordelia stupidly runs into the bathroom. And Vampire Willow is like, nowhere to run now, lady. And just as she's closing in on Willow, or Cordelia in the bathroom, Wesley pops out of a stall in the bathroom with a cross, and he puts it in Vampire Willow's face. And I only say that pops out of a stall because where else could he have been?
I had the same thought, because most bathrooms in schools have one entrance, one exit, same door. We see the sinks on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
She's backing up towards, like, I guess there's some stalls on the back wall or something.
Yeah.
And Willow's coming in towards her. He comes entering frame left frame or whatever.
Yeah.
And just shows up. And I was thinking to myself, where did he slide in from?
Yeah, and wasn't he there cowering in fear because he's a coward? Or, like, how did he know that Cordelia would have run into theirs?
Like, he would have had to have been in the bathroom before she went into the bathroom for him to appear where he appeared.
Yes.
And it doesn't make any sense.
I'm saying, I think that he was hiding in a turlet, dude. He was hanging out in the turlet. Hanging out with turtle.
I don't know, because he doesn't know what it is.
That's why I think he was hiding away, because he's a coward.
I don't think he's that cowardly. I think he's accurately afraid, as I think someone should be when they come face to face with vampires. If there were three people reacting the way he reacts normally, like if they were as jumpy as when Cordelia taps him on the shoulder at the end of the scene, like
this is my point of contention with that, is that I could understand that if he was a regular person and didn't know that vampires exist. But he is a watcher.
I think the watchers are cowards too.
Yeah, absolutely they are. He's seen other vampires. He knows that they exist in the world. Like, why is he constantly surprised and scared? Like, what is he like? He sucks. But he shows up and he shoves a cross in Vampire Willow's face, and she's like, "Arr." And then he reaches into his breast pocket and he's got holy water and he just shows it to her.
The holy water should be more accessible. It should be like, you know how they have those bottles, those pill bottles that you can jam your needle through to get like the stuff out, like from the top without having to unscrew it. It should be something where you can like just flick it and water will come out of it. not a unscrew the cap holy water bottle.
Dude, just like a Gatorade bottle.
A squirt bottle, like a squirt bottle. Yeah.
Or as we've said throughout this entire run of our podcast, a squirt gun.
Those little neon colored water guns full of holy water would just be money.
Dude, and that is a lot of ammo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those things, you can shoot a lot of holy water.
You could start treating vampires like they're cats.
Yeah. Train a vampire, just have it in library jail.
Yeah.
Bad vampire.
No biting.
So after he shows her the holy water, Vampire Willow's like, and she just walks away. And Wes is like, I'm feeling good about myself. Then Cordelia taps him on the shoulder and he goes, woo! And Cordelia's like, oh my God, thank you so much for saving me. She gives him a big hug and he's like, yes, of course, I saved you because I'm a strong and courageous man. And then Cordelia's like, so, Wesley, what are you up to tonight? I was like, dude.
She's like, do you want to go out tonight? And it's like, this is weird. Yeah. Now I'm on the mayor's side.
Yeah.
Kill Willow and don't be a sugar daddy jailbaiter. And that's the end of the scene. We don't know if they ever go out. We never find out if they find out that wasn't really Willow.
Mm.
And also, they don't follow after her.
No, they're just letting a vampire go walking.
It's a big school.
Dude,
where do you think she went?
She could also just be waiting just outside the door.
No.
But yeah, then we go back to the bronze and there's all kinds of ass kicking going on. Angel's fighting, Buffy's fighting. Real Willow punches Anya in the face, which is awesome.
Can I say they've stepped up the choreography this season? This fight is really really well done. Like it's moving, it's quick. There's interesting stuff. Like Angel throws a pool ball, a pool ball at someone and ricochets off. And Buffy's got the pull stick and she's doing some cool stuff.
They're doing a lot of melee fighting, just use whatever.
I know we did bring this up though. They're leaving the library that is loaded with weapons to fight vampires, and they run into the bronze empty-handed.
Yeah.
Buffy has to grab a pull stick to even have a weapon.
Maybe they got rid of the weapons when they searched through Giles's stuff.
They still have the tranquilizer gun there, though.
Oh, true.
So it's no way they got rid of all the weapons.
Yeah.
Just a little.
I was trying to find a way.
Just
trying to find a way to excuse it. So Vampire Willow eventually shows up to the bronze, and she shows up and she shoves Oz.
How did she get in? She shows up on the stage.
Yeah, I guess from the skylight, because Angel does make mention about climbing through the skylight. We see people climbing up that rope or whatever.
the band leader's trying to climb up, but he just can't climb it.
He can't. He's a weak little bitch boy.
When you're climbing a rope, for anybody listening that's and still has to take gym class, you got to use your legs.
Yeah,
Don't try to be an upper body hero. That's the trick. Use your legs, and your arms are just kind of the stabilize.
Yeah, or you could use both.
You're gonna pull with your arms, but your legs are doing most of the pushing up.
Yeah, you can really conserve a lot of energy that way and go really fast.
Yeah.
I learned that from doing aerialist training. Yeah.
I don't even have a response to that.
Of course you don't, Vance. So Xander and Giles also bust in and they tag team stake a vampire. Buffy and all kinds of people there's a bunch of just chaos going on. Vampire Willow eventually goes up to Real Willow and just starts choking her. It's on stage.
So much choking.
On stage, just choking the shit out of her. And Buffy sees this and she's like, all right, enough of this malarkey. Breaks the pull stick over her leg or whatever. Kills a vampire.
I think she breaks it by running past and hitting a vampire in the head.
You're right.
It breaks in half, and it's really cool. It's a great shot.
Vampire Willow, and right as she's about to come down with the hammer, Real Willow goes, Buffy, no! And then Buffy stops. And then the gang, who has now successfully killed all the rest of the vampires, apparently. They just surround Vampire.
Yeah. And they just pull her up, and then like they don't like lock her arms up or anything. They just lift her off of her, and she just stands there like she can't do anything.
Yeah. And she's standing there, and Real Willow's like, you don't want to die. You just want to be sent back to your world, right? Would that be okay if we try to send you back to your world? And Vampire Willow's like, I would much prefer that. Yes.
There's a great moment where she's like, where Buffy stops, and it shows that she's like better than Faith because she can like stop when someone's to stop when it comes to stabbing someone. Yeah. And it's a callback to them doing like reaction training.
Yeah.
Stuff that cops are supposed to do, you know, so they don't just start shooting right away.
Well, they could, maybe they should be trained by Wesley Wyndam-Price.
Yeah. It's like, oh, maybe I didn't have to fire right away. Maybe I don't fire a warning shot in the sporting goods store when two girls are stealing.
Bastards to be under Wesley Wyndam-Price's thumb.
The Watchers could be doing a lot more good if they were just training other people to fight vampires.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it's this whole thing with Willow wanting to not
save Vampire Willow. Yeah.
Yeah, she can't kill herself.
Yeah.
I think that.
And this is always shit that bothers me, especially in like vampire stuff, in zombie stuff. And
when someone turns and you can't kill the person that turned.
I fucking hate that so much. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in all of media.
I get it. It's a trope in that stuff. I get it. Like someone turned, but once they turned, I am pragmatic enough that I'll promise you this, Joe. If you turned into a vampire zombie, I would put you down.
Dude,
no questions asked.
Put me down quickly.
Yeah.
Dude, even if you suspected I'm just a real person, even if I get the flu,
you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that because you can get a little pale.
Trigger finger there. I got the flu and I'm around him. He's like, Joe, bow, bow, bow.
No chances.
No half measures, Joe.
No half measures.
Anyway, who wants to host the rest of this podcast with me? Oh man. So they decide, like, you know what? This is the humane thing to do. We're not going to kill her. We're going to send her back. And then so they go back to that warehouse where Vampire Willow initially woke up, and the gang's all there, and they're all surrounding. They're all getting this witch spell together. And Xander goes up to Vampire Willow, and he goes, so wait a minute. In your world, I'm this badass vampire? And people are, like, afraid of me? And then Vampire Willow just kind of like rolls her eyes. Yeah. And he's like, hell yeah, look at me. I'm a bad boy. And then they start to do the spell to send what's-her-face, Vampire Willow back. And they're sending her back to the reality. And I have a note here that says Anya wants her powers back. Was she in the scene?
Yeah, she's right next to Giles while they're doing it. So there's a moment where evil Willow says, this world's no fun. And then normal Willow says, oh, you've noticed that too? I think that's why they were back on the stage. I said, you noticed that too? And I was really weird to hear real world Willow say that this world's not fun that she's in. I didn't really get what that was about necessarily.
I feel like it was kind of a callback to her being a doormat and old reliable. And also, like, there is still a lot of vampire hellmouth shit going on there. So, it can't be that fun. All their friends are dying. Amy's a rat. Like,
I mean, she was spinning pencils earlier today.
Yeah, it seemed like she was having a... Dude, all of these...
She's dating a band member. She got a chance to pretend to be a vampire and send vampires to death. What? I mean...
Bro, all of these kids are going to have such PTSD.
No, they're not. They're just going to forget that this even happened. They won't even talk. They don't even bring it up the next... Once we get to the end, I'll talk about why it's just not. But everyone does run when... Everyone runs and leaves when Buffy Summers, who they can recognize, runs in with this older guy that she's been dating that they've seen her with a bunch.
Well, they recognize Buffy as this up to no good ne'er-do-well.
So
they're all under Snyder's thumb. They all understand Snyder's like been poisoning their minds with this anti-Buffy propaganda.
This bully will save us. But in this scene,
I'm gonna need your help with this scene. I'm having a hard time remembering it.
So they're sending Willow. They're sending the other Willow back, which is still iffy to me because she's going to go back and just kill people in her real world.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they think. So I'm like, whatever, that's fine. And
somehow real world Willow does say, and no killing.
And then they like hug, and then like she grabs her butt again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna miss that Willow.
Yeah.
And then they all like sit around the plate or whatever. But before that, Anya goes, Giles is like, don't even try any tricky stuff. She's like, whatever. When I get my powers, I'm gonna screw you guys all over or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then it's a perfect little 2-shot of the both Willows doing their like classic scoff smirk. Thing. So that's like a cool thing. And then they sit down, and I guess Giles, because he read one book, can do a spell that a 1,000-year-old demon can't figure out how to do.
And then what happens next is one of my favorite moments of this entire series.
Yeah.
So they've gone through all of this trouble because they don't want to kill Vampire Willow. They feel
Which is
bad.
still weird. It's
still very weird.
Yeah.
But they feel like they have some kind of like they owe it to her or something. Or
you know what? If I'm Angel, I'm like, remember this. Remember this. She's bad and she didn't turn back good, and you guys are trying to save her. Just remember.
So they perform the spell, and they send Vampire Willow back to her reality. The exact moment she was pulled out of that reality.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the exact moment she was pulled from her reality is right before Oz in that reality shoves her against a wooden stake and she dies. So she fucking gets impaled by this wooden stake and goes, ow, fucking dies.
It's amazing.
It was so good. And I was thinking about that this entire time.
Yeah,
when they're like, we're going to send her back. We got to send her back. I was like, she died in her others.
Yeah.
It's like in fucking Spider-Man. The latest Spider-Man where they send everybody back like right before they die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little, it's weird. And the thing also is that Buffy dies in that reality.
Yeah, dude.
Buffy got her neck snapped.
Yes, by the Master after she threw one punch and missed, and the Master grabbed her from behind and just went.
So that reality that still exists, like Oz is getting destroyed after that.
Yeah, a new Slayer has been birthed.
Oh my God, it's Faith. Oh, if we see it again, it'll be like a Faith Slayer. Well, I guess.
Or Kendra.
Because Kendra. Faith would be, be Kendra or Faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it should be technically Kendra. Is that the spinoff? We get Kendra in this alternate reality?
That'd be awesome. Yo, we're pitching so many spinoffs. The one that we got, we're not interested in at all. We're interested in it.
We had a listener mention that they did try to do a Watchers spinoff that never happened with Giles in London with Willow.
Yeah, it's called Ripper.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that little hug moment where he's like, "You're the best of us." That could have been like the little seed of that being planted. We pitched that one in the last episode about we need a Watcher spinoff.
Yeah.
But we get Angel as a spinoff. And also thank you to the listeners in Discord who kind of mapped out how to watch Angel.
Yeah, apparently there's a way to watch Buffy and Angel spoiler free.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for making it so convenient for us.
Vance is so not on board with doing the Angel podcast.
I'm fine with doing an Angel podcast. It's just logistics. It's just logistics.
Logistically, yeah, it's going to take some time.
It's so much. We got so much Buffy.
But anyway.
And I'm loving this Buffy. I love this episode.
Yeah, this is a great episode. But so fucking Vampire Willow immediately gets turned to dust. And then we are at school the next day, and Buffy and Willow are sitting there, and they're like, talking about all the goings on, and Buffy's like, hey, Willow, you want to hang out tonight? Willow's like, fuck no. I don't want to hang out with anybody. I don't want to do anything. I'm happy being a doormat. I'm happy being reliable. I'm just going to go home and do my homework and die a virgin. I'm cool with that.
She's like, I'm happy dying a virgin. I was like, you could still rectify that. Like, you have a hot band boyfriend. Like, they don't have to.
So as she is saying after she says all this, Percy West shows up, and he's like, oh, hey there, Miss Willow. Just so you know, I did all the outlines for my history thing. I did it all. And I found out that there was actually 2 President Roosevelts, and I didn't realize that. So I did outlines for both of them, and here they are. Hopefully this makes this easier for you, and I'm very willing to be tutored by you. Thank you so much. Goodbye. And he walks away, and he comes back, and he gives her an apple. And then he walks away, and he does this really dumb fucking, like, hop over a little brick, like,
he
wall.
does that, like, he hops over a bench or something.
It was so dumb.
He is the best athlete in Sunnydale, okay?
It was so dumb, dude.
He's got a 15-inch vertical, okay?
If they would have been like, he's the best hurdler, then yeah, that would have made sense. He's the best bag. Oh, he's got them bunnies, baby.
Yeah.
He's got them hops.
So with this scene, and then at the end, Buffy's like, oh, do you want to go out? And Willow's like, definitely, or something like that.
Yeah. And that's the episode.
But so him coming there and giving her that, because Percy left before the vampires came.
Yes, he did.
So what he knows is that Willow at night dresses like that and is super strong and will choke you out. Like, that's his reality.
Yeah.
Now, what is the reality of the other people at school that were at the Bronze when they see Willow?
When they see 2 Willows.
No, they see 1 Willow. They didn't see 2 Willows. They've only seen 1 at the Bronze because they all ran out.
Oh, they all ran out. Yeah.
So, and when they ran out, Willow was evil. I guess they overheard her talk about killing the real Willow. But my thing is, if you saw Willow kill a kid in the Bronze, wouldn't you then see Willow at school and be like, what the fuck?
Wouldn't she be under arrest?
Does the Bronze clean up that body? Who cleans up that body? That one girl is dead in the middle of the Bronze floor.
Yeah, her family's never gonna see her again.
No. Or, I mean, they could. Or probably they'll bury her and somehow she'll turn into a vampire for no reason and Buffy will stake her. but honestly, like, how do you go to school and be like, oh, there's Willow. She was the one that was doing all that stuff. You would have to know, oh, that's the good Willow because last night was the bad Willow vampire.
And then you would also know all about the vampires and alternate realities.
Yeah. So it's one way you think Willow is an evil monster that killed a girl, or you understood everything that happened.
And you choose to not remember this. Selective memory in Sunnydale, baby.
Oh, wait, I have a test to take. It's amazing, man. Like, that's just so egregious.
It is. Like, how do people not realize that vampires... If after this they still don't, and they're still like, what's going on? And Buffy's like, we gotta protect and do this secretly. No, you don't. Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore, you don't.
Would you go back to the Bronze the next night?
I wouldn't have gone back to the Bronze for years.
I've been at nightclubs where people have been stabbed, and I've been like, I don't think I want to go back to that place.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Like, not if a whole gang of vampire terrorists went in there.
Dude, my buddy took me to a strip club, and as soon as we entered in there, he was like, oh yeah, last week 3 people got shot here. I was like, dude, why'd you take me here?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, nowadays, that's just like, well, you don't go anywhere.
That's true, yeah.
The case.
Yeah, I mean, that was also
like a sad reality.
Like right outside of DC in like the most dangerous neighborhood. But yeah, that is the episode. That is Doppelgangland. You got any last words on I'm sorry, listeners. This is getting long as fuck. These podcasts have been progressively getting longer and longer and longer. And you want us to do more?
Yeah. Angel's a 4-hour podcast.
Vance has a wife. I've got booty burlesque shows to do, everybody. Come on. Oh, man. But yeah, any last words here?
I think I covered it. I went on my rants.
Yeah.
I had so many rants in this one.
Next episode, Vance, is titled Enemies. I
did see the thumbnail. Because for some reason, Amazon keeps showing the thumbnails at the bottom when I look at it. Before they used to have something else. Yeah,
I saw the thumbnail, but I forget what it was.
Okay. It's just the same demon from the beginning of this episode that Anya was talking to.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think we have some more Anya stuff.
I hope.
What's the title of it? What's the title of this one?
Enemies.
I
think it's more like Buffy finding out about Faith and the mayor.
I think it's going to be Buffy finding out about Faith and the mayor, and I think Anya trying to do something with that demon, too. So it's like multiple enemies.
Maybe the mayor is trying to enlist the help of this demon?
Maybe Buffy has to team up with Anya to help her with her problem so that Anya can help her with hers.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to go with.
All right. Well, that is our episode for Doppelgangland, everybody. Thanks for sticking it out. If you stuck this out, you better join the Discord. You better join the Patreon. You better give a write and a review. Subscribe.
I do have one more thing too. I did make a prediction last week that I think that Faith was like, maybe it was two options. Faith was actually going undercover to help the gang.
Uh-huh.
I don't think she's going undercover to help the gang anymore.
I think that she's not going undercover to help the gang, but she will have a change of heart.
Yeah, I don't think she's okay with just like straight up murdering people.
Yeah.
Even though she did let them go after Willow and didn't stop him.
And she did straight up murder a person. She is okay with murdering someone, Vance. What are you talking about? She literally
she saved Buffy. Well, she saved Buffy. Her killing that deputy was like an accident.
Fuck out of here.
It was an accident. It was an accident, but she was...
The whole episode of Consequences was her
No, it was an accident. No, it was an accidident, but she wasn't remorseful.
Oh.
She wasn't remorseful.
Okay, so you're saying the distinction is that she isn't okay with like, I am going to murder someone, but if somebody gets killed as collateral damage, she's fine with it.
The Xander thing was a weird moment.
Well, that was when she was unraveling.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. She's not like, oh, let me just kill Willow and Buffy. Okay, I'm just a hitman now.
Also, can I ask, what happened to the investigation of the murder of this?
That's what I was trying to figure out. When Faith just walked into the school, I'm like, wait, so they're just cool?
Are they just off the hook? Like the cops aren't hot on their trail anymore?
There's no more investigate. They investigated one day for the deputy mayor's death.
This is an almost 2-hour-long podcast. Listeners, we thank you for sticking around. We really appreciate
people want more. People want more.
People want more. Content. Well, here we are.
This episode had a lot to talk about, though.
It did. Yeah. We also, we went places with it.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you for listening. Follow on Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy. You want to write in boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. Join the Discord. Join the Patreon. And stay tuned next time for when we talk about enemies.
She was truly finest of all of us.
Way better than me.
Much, much better.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.